Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She's Kim McAllister. This week has been one for the books, so cheers, my friend. This is Cocktails and News on the Nikki Maduro Show, which we always have to drink lately. I mean, what a week of appointments. I mean, between last week and this week, my friend, it has been quite the week. Hit that thumbs up button. And thank you to everyone that's been supporting the show. We have some new Patreon members that I'm going to be thanking at the end of the show. So thank you to everybody that has been supporting. And of course, we can't do it without all of you. But we will be getting to your reaction to all of the appointments. It seems we're getting whiplash of all of the different appointments that Trump has been making every single day. But there's consequences, right, Kim, here in California. And I want to bring in a friend of the show because she's waiting in the wings and we love having her on. Yeah. And I'm interested because there are consequences to elections here in California. Our friend, former California Public Utilities Commission President Loretta Lynch is here. Loretta, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yay.
Hi, Nikki and Kim. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so first off, before we talk about, energy, PG&E, CPUC, how you feeling after the election, Loretta? I mean, how have you been? I know you've been dealing with COVID. You've been getting over COVID. How are you feeling? Just as a Californian, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling scared. We have to do what Maya Angelou says, which is believe him when he tells us who he is.
Right.
And he wants to be a dictator, and he will be unless the Congress and the courts and the people push back. And it is going to be a very scary, hard time, not only for California, but for everyone across the country who doesn't look like and act like Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's just I've been kind of going back and forth between trying not to freak out. I told my husband the other night, there was a moment before COVID hit the fan where I was sitting at the dinner table, and Kim, you'll remember this. Like we were getting this news in, Steph Curry had gotten it, Tom Hanks had gotten it, and I had this overwhelming pressure on my chest, like this is going to be bad because we were in the news and we were getting all this information. And I got this it's going to be bad. And I had that the other night. I was just like, it's going to be bad. It was a little bit, and then I had to just kind of breathe through it and not freak out. You can't live like that, right? Just kind of it is what it is. We have to, wake up and kind of deal with it. But there are consequences. Like I mentioned at the top, Loretta, here in California, because our governor, Gavin Newsom, has been kind of on this kick of trying to Trump-proof California. And he's been, meeting with people and trying to sign all these things. Do you think, I guess in your expertise with energy and all those sorts of things, are there ways that we can do it when Donald Trump doesn't even believe in climate change and things like that?
Well, the question is going to be whether or not the federal rules are a floor or a ceiling. And if they're a ceiling, they will harsh California's mellow, right? Because they will not allow us to go above probably a very fossil fuel oriented ceiling. But if they're a floor and the states can go above them, which is generally how the climate rules work, right? You can go further along the path to clean energy than what the feds require, but you can't go less than what the feds require. So ideally, California will continue its march for progress. The big problem is the other states may well roll back what little progress they've had, like Wyoming and Nevada and Idaho and Montana, Colorado and New Mexico. Those are, coal and natural gas states. And so several of those states don't even have a climate policy because they are captured by the coal industry or the natural gas industry. And so my biggest concern is that the governor is going to move ahead with what should now be just an absolutely ridiculous plan to cede California's authority to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to both to both run our electricity markets, which is about what kind of power we can buy in at what price, and also run our transmission grid, because we want our transmission grid and our electricity market to prioritize clean energy and not dirty energy, and less expensive energy and not super expensive energy. And if we just hand all of that authority over to the Trump FERC, they're going to screw us over.
Yeah. Eric makes a good point, though. We're the fifth or sixth largest economy in the world. There's plenty of corporations that will change their products to meet our regulations. And it's not easy. I mean, if you're already on the path of trying to meet California regulations, and then Trump's like, you don't have to do that anymore. It's like, well, wait a minute, we're already on the path. Like, and they might be sane and believe in climate change. Like, why not just continue on that path?
And you've seen companies like Tesla say, screw your regulations, California, I'm out.
Well, true.
Exactly. That's the problem. California has led the country in zero emission vehicles, electric cars, basically, and also in some real interesting pollution containment and pollution reduction and carbon reduction requirements. And generally what's happened is some business, if not the Association of Car Manufacturers, for instance, have sued California and said, no, you are interfering with, all sorts of federal rules, or you're interfering with our ability to sell cars into other states. Right. And so California has had to defend itself again and again and again to uphold our rules. And now the big problem is what happens when not only do the car manufacturers or the fill in the blank polluter companies sue California, but the Trump administration comes in on behalf of the polluters and not on behalf of California's right to determine its own clean air and clean water.
If you're joining us, we have former CPUC President Loretta Lynch with us. Elon Musk is also now part and parcel of the Trump kind of circle. Tesla. I mean, you would think he would kind of have the ear of Trump, even though I think Elon Musk is spreading himself even thinner now that he's the, part of this Department of Government Efficiency / Doge thing. Do you think that might help? Just kind of, it would help Elon Musk sell more of his Tesla vehicles if, they were kind of supported by the Trump administration?
I don't think Elon Musk owning Tesla is going to be enough to change Trump's history and also his comments about being a climate change denier. Right. On the campaign trail, he said, when he would praise Elon Musk, well, we're going to, keep him away from all the electric car stuff, but he can do these other things like slash government services to those who most need them. So Elon Musk is there to protect his big kahuna interests, which is formerly Twitter X and SpaceX, right? He has billions of dollars of NASA contracts, and who knows what kinds of contracts he has for his satellite companies. So he's there to protect his big dollar investments. And Tesla at this point is kind of the tail wagging the very big dog of the government contracted universe of Elon Musk.
Yeah. It was just announced today that Newsom announced the home electrification and appliance rebates for qualified homeowners. This is the first of two federal programs in California for climate resilient homes. I'm just bringing this up because, again, these are federal programs. Any sort of federal programs that help Californians, can we just expect them to end under the Trump administration?
I think so. Yeah. Now, the great news is both, our Representative Nancy Pelosi and also our President Joe Biden came together to pass incredible investments in clean energy, especially in the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. And so those subsidies and those incentives are still available unless and until the MAGA Congress repeals them. Yeah. And what they're going to do is they're going to take every single possible incentive away in order to fund their extraordinary corporate tax cuts, right? Mm-hmm. So they are going to slash all those. So I would say the fact that the governor is opening that money now in November, I hope people go in and get it and go buy those products that are going to be eligible for it right now, because I'm not so sure that money is going to be available come March or April, and certainly not by next October.
Exactly. Eric, again, he was talking about reining in PG&E and the CPUC. I think it was the end of October where the governor was issuing that executive order trying to regulate the CPUC. Um, is this
Mm.
just kind of pomp and
As if.
circumstance?
It's
You
just
know,
funny, right?
I signed this executive order to regulate the CPUC to regulate itself. What did you think about that, Loretta?
I think that the executive order continues the governor's war on solar because as he lauds a lot of costs that the PUC has layered on us customers, the one cost he calls out as unwarranted
Hmm.
is solar. So he says, whereas California's electric rate increases have been driven largely by the cost of some programs added over time, like the subsidy provided through the legacy net energy metering program, which is the rooftop solar program, where if you produce more solar electricity than you can use, you get paid for it because it's a great benefit to the
Mhm.
system.
Right.
And so the one cost he calls out as bad, and the one reason he gives for California's electric rate increases is rooftop solar, which, at some point, this tiny little program that really provides a lot of benefits to the whole system, certainly to our air and water, cannot hold all the wrath that the governor has poured down upon it. Because he's basically saying, a la the Wizard of Oz, don't look behind the curtain, go look at that mean dog Toto rooftop solar program and go get it. Because behind the curtain, you will see that PG&E drives extraordinary and excessive costs, excessive executive compensation and bonuses, excessive profiteering, excessive profits when they build new transmission lines that we don't need at premium profits, or when they underground transmission lines at 10 times the cost of just fixing the wires so that the lines don't burn. So really what we need to do is look at the serious drivers of our electric rates, which are profiteering, over profiting, undergrounding unnecessarily, building unnecessary transmission lines, and also the secret procurement contracts, where the PUC keeps secret the actual cost of buying electricity for Californians. And if we knew the sweetheart deals they were approving, we would never stand for them, which is, of course, why they keep them secret. And then just like Elon Musk and Tesla and all his other businesses, the rooftop solar program is the tail that the governor says is wagging the whole dog of costs, when in fact that dog needs to be put on a diet now.
Exactly.
When you
Go
look
ahead.
at who is the next Democratic star, rising star, and you look at what Kamala Harris had to offer and her skeletons in her closet, she didn't have one like this, which is the way Californians feel. You can see Gordon writing here, shame on Gavin. The way Californians feel about his deal with this, nominating all these CPUC members and then basically just rubber stamping everything
Mhm.
PG&E wants. Do you feel like that's going to hold him back? Should he be the next person from the Democratic Party to try to run for president?
Well, I think if we can take one thing from this election, is that most people were ticked off that their bills had gone up so high for no reason that was ever explained to them. They were paying more and
Yep.
getting less.
Yep.
And that's exactly what is happening to Californians when it comes to their electricity bills. We are paying way more and getting way less. We don't have safety. We know that from all the wildfires. We don't have reliability. We know that from all the power shutoffs. And the fact that it took PG&E like 6 weeks to fix one small transmission line on my street, and they turned off our power several times before they actually got it fixed, right? And that's happening all over the state. And so when you pay more and get less, people are angry. And what we've just seen is they take it out on the elected officials
Right.
that were presiding when they started to pay more and getting less. So until the governor fixes the real reasons for our outrageous and spiraling out of control electricity bills, and stops blaming it right here. The only blame he puts is on rooftop solar programs. Until he really honestly examines the drivers of our outrageous costs, he won't be able to fix them.
Yeah. And not only are we getting less, I won't turn on the heat. I'm not actually even getting anything. Again,
Right.
blankets are out, Loretta. I keep telling my husband, not turning on the heat. It's not that cold yet. I'm not even getting it, and my bill is still expensive. It's ridiculous.
Well, and think about it, Nikki, if you were a single mom on a fixed income and all of a sudden your bill doubled, what that means is then you don't have enough money for groceries or shoes or school supplies or something else like rent. And I grew up in a working class family where my dad would say, put on a sweater, don't touch that dial. Because I knew, even when I was in grade school, that if our electric bill went up, it meant we didn't eat meat.
Exactly.
My mom, who was a teacher for 40 years before she retired, we had growing up, and still to this day, a Thanksgiving rule. No one turns on the heater before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we had book club at my mom's house the other day, and a couple of the people there were like, it's kind of cold in your house. And my mom's like, yeah, grab a blanket there in the corner.
Yeah. Everyone keeps saying it. Everyone keeps saying it. It's cold in here. I'm like, yeah, get a blanket. Everyone, you know what everyone's getting for Christmas? You know, you can get a little electric blanket if you want. You could plug it in and warm up just a little bit, but I am not turning on that heater and heating up everybody in the house. I have a bet, Loretta. I bet you as Gavin leaves, perhaps he'll start magically solving some of these problems, but he's not running again, obviously. We do have candidates. Kamala Harris now is being a name thrown about for the governor's race, although she hasn't made a decision. Obviously, she's still licking her wounds from the presidential race. Some other names, Katie Porter, a Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, a Republican State Senator Brian Dahle, Lieutenant Governor Alani Koulianakis, and then former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa are all on the list of people that perhaps are going to be running for the governor's race.
And three more. Tony Thurmond, our schools chief, Betty Yee, our former controller, Tony Atkins, the former state Senate President pro tem from San Diego, and then many people say Rob Bonta, our AG. We've got a lot of people.
So, of all of the people that were just mentioned, who do you think will be the best on energy policy in California from your perspective?
Ooh, who's going to get your endorsement, Loretta? Who's going to get your endorsement?
Well, I'm not ready to say yet, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because the governor, I've heard, and certainly his California Independent System Operator, or the Cal ISO, is going to put a bill into the legislature yet again this January that will give away California's power to run its electricity markets and to oversee its transmission grid to the federal government. And why in the world, when we're trying to Trump-proof California, would we hand over incredible control to the Trump FERC?
No,
I do not understand it.
No.
But the ISO, which is currently a California corporation that is supposed to follow California law that says you are supposed to run the grid and the energy markets in a manner that minimizes cost to California consumers and maximizes the availability of resources, meaning enough power to California consumers. They don't like those rules because they don't want to run the grid to minimize costs and maximize power to California. They want to be the overlords of the entire West. They'll make more money, they'll be more important, and most importantly, they will be free of pesky California and our climate goals, because they want to run this grid to run the heck out of coal and natural gas. And right now, we don't let them run our grid that way. And so they have been trying to jailbreak out of California law for a long time, for at least 8 years. And here they come again, except for very sadly, this time I've been told, and I don't know that this is going to still be true, that the governor is going to put his stamp of approval on this ISO jailbreak.
Why would he do that? What's the argument?
The argument is, well, California doesn't always have enough power. So if we expand and have this regional grid, we can get more power from other states. And California
Yeah.
has great green laws. And if we expand, we will essentially educate and bring our green laws to the West. But what I know is we have plenty of power. We trade with every other state every day, pretty much every hour of every day. That's not the problem. The problem is the other states don't share our climate goals,
Yeah.
and the other states don't have the prices that we have. In fact, California is 2 to 4 times more expensive
Right.
than all the other Western states, depending on which state it is. So I don't see why any Western state would want to hitch their wagon to us, except we will then become a new market for their fossil fuels. And many of these Western states are very fossil fuel dependent. Again, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, big time. Wyoming is a coal state, basically. Nevada, Utah, Idaho, those folks are super fossil fuel dependent. And right now, it's harder for them to sell us fossil fuel to make electricity, fossil fueled electricity. If we regionalize and the rules are set by the federal government, do you think the Trump FERC is going to make it easier for them to sell their fossil fuels into California? Yeah, they
But
are.
then would we buy it? I mean, if we have our
We
climate
would
goals,
have to buy it because the rules would be set by the federal government, not the state.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
If
And
Newsom
so
and you think Newsom would do that?
it's a pig and a poke. And we have seen this pig and a poke before. You know, Enron touted energy deregulation as a way to have cleaner power, lower prices, more reliability. And instead, we got dirtier power, higher prices, and blackouts. Here they go again. The sons of Enron want to make money. They want to wring every penny out of the dying industry of fossil fuels. And we are the ones leading that fossil fuel death, we Californians. And so they would love to co opt us into a federal scheme where the federal government is pro fossil fuel. Because then, under the supremacy clause of the Constitution, we would have to follow the federal rules. But as long as we have a one state only market, which is what we have now, then we have a much bigger say in how that's run. For instance, under our state law, this California State Corporation's board of directors is appointed by the governor and confirmed by the state senate. The proposal will eliminate that California corporation and its authority, and instead will change the corporation to a Delaware corporation that will be run by people who are not Californians, who are not picked by California, and who couldn't care less about California.
Is
Hmm.
this going to be something that will go before voters, or is this
It,
something that it's an executive governor decision?
no, it will be a bill in the legislature. So I'm really hoping that the folks who listen to you guys call
Yeah.
their legislators and say, hey, the ISO's what they are now calling pathways program. It's a pathway to a greener future. It's a
Hmm.
pathway to coal and higher prices is what it's a pathway to. But their
Interesting.
pathways program, which is just another name, they've just changed the name. It's regionalization. It is ceding California's authority, giving it away to the Trump Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and they will rule California's markets, California's transmission, and pretty much what we buy and where it goes at what price.
So this goes against what we've been hearing in the media that Governor
Mhm.
Gavin Newsom is trying to Trump-proof California,
Right.
right? That he's trying to take all these steps to make sure that Trump can't touch us, and all the things he wants to do don't affect us here that much.
I wonder if
This
he's
isn't
doing that so he can maybe make himself appealing to the rest of the United States as he makes
well,
his way to trying to become president of the
but
United States.
but this
Well, we
isn't
can see,
that. He's not Trump-proofing us from this.
no, Kim, this is going to be where the rubber hits the road, and it's going to be a real test of whether the governor is walking the walk or talking the talk. If
Mhm.
he moves forward with the ISO pathways or regionalization program, he'll just be talking the talk because this will expose us to the insanity of Trump's energy policies and higher prices in a way that we don't have to do it. If we just let it be, we can protect ourselves so much more than just ceding all protections to the Trump FERC for some future amorphous, maybe possibly in 20 years benefit that frankly, they always say the benefit's going to happen in 10 or 20 years because then they know that a new governor will be around to have to face the consequences.
So
Right.
we know that you say that this is going through the legislature, a bill that then the governor would sign, and then
Right.
it would and that's all it would take. And we
Correct.
also know that PG&E dumps a buttload of money into politics. So we don't know how many people in the, representing Californians will be just bending over for PG&E because they've been paid off by them. And that's the problem, is that even if you make the phone call and say, please don't do this, they may be beholden to PG&E because of campaign contributions.
Right.
Or Sempra, which owns San Diego Gas and Electric and SoCal Gas. But this really benefits what I call the sons of Enron. This benefits Warren Buffett and all his coal holdings. This benefits a whole bunch of Texas and Florida energy companies that own a bunch of liquefied natural gas and other natural gas holdings. This will provide an enormous, pretty much new market for all that fossil fuel, just as California has been starting to close our market to that and try to reach our climate goals. So it's just absolutely insane if what you want is cleaner air, cleaner water, and to reach our climate goals at a reasonable price. But, as you just mentioned, Kim, money talks. Money
Exactly.
talks. And so the big question is, will the governor be talking about Trump proofing California, or will he be walking the walk, and will he tell the ISO, no, we don't need to cede one kilowatt of California's authority and law, much less convert a California corporation to a Delaware corporation and let it just run away from California control.
And honestly, as these people start running for governor, who's talking about PG&E and the CPUC? I mean, that is a top issue, I would say, for California voters. And I want the next candidate for governor of California to be talking about it. And if the candidate isn't even talking about it, then that just tells me where their kind of loyalty lies. If you're not talking about PG&E and the CPUC, then that also speaks volumes to
Right.
me about where your loyalty
Bingo. Nikki,
lies.
you have it just exactly right, which is why I didn't answer your question, who am I for? Because until the candidates take public positions,
Yes.
one, against this wolf in sheep's clothing ISO pathways jailbreak, and also until they take public positions about just how they're going to make the PUC accountable to the people and not to the utilities, right? We got to change that PUC from being a lapdog to a watchdog.
Exactly.
And there are lots of ideas out there about how to do it. And so far, none of the candidates are talking about that. So that's going to be
Interesting.
my litmus test. And boy,
Okay.
will I have a litmus test, because who the next governor is going to be key and critical to whether or not we continue these out of control spiraling electricity and gas prices where we pay more and get less. We don't have to do that. The rest of the states don't do that. We have the second highest electricity prices in the country. Of course, the highest is Hawaii, right? And at least you can understand why. They're an island.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So the highest in the country, and certainly in the contiguous United States, which says we're doing something wrong because we're not getting more for it. We're getting less.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so we're going to be keeping a close eye on this as we head to
Thank you.
2026. We're going to talk to you a lot. I don't know. I honestly, I don't have a choice. You guys know I love Katie Porter. I would love to see the whiteboard with Katie Porter. I feel like she would I honestly at least get some of the people out there and kind of do the math for people. So we'll have a lot to talk about as we head to 2026. And I definitely, as we get closer, we're going to try to get an endorsement out of you as we get closer to that election.
Well, I need it.
I'm going to exactly. I'm going to need it.
You look at domestic policies, you look at things like, Governor Gavin Newsom, look at what he did for same-sex marriage, and look at what he did for giving people freedoms. And I thought, well, that's just the most wonderful thing. That should have been done long time ago, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this whole other side to him where
he forgot us about
giving
this.
deals to the guy at whatever the sandwich shop was it Panera Bread, and giving deals to the guy at the stadium in Los Angeles, and PG&E deals. And it's like, well, you're kind of creeping me out with money and your greed. while at the same time doing good things. So it can be hard to kind of figure out who these people are sometimes.
Well, Kim, what I would say is this. I believe the governor is a great civil rights Democrat, right? If it's
There you
about
go.
civil rights and no money's involved, he's all there.
There you
But
go.
what we need is a great civil rights Democrat or a great civil rights governor and a great economic rights governor. We got to be for the people when it comes to economic rights.
Yes.
And if we don't understand the message of this election, which was, from my perspective, just that, where are you in our economic rights? You can't be for big corporations or for, unlimited trade when it's not fair without taking care of the people at home. And so this governor and the next governor is going to have a really big mess on their hands fixing 2 decades of corporatist electricity policies. It can be done, but you have to have the political will to do it, not just this, being interested in civil rights.
Right.
Exactly. I love Teacher Lori's comments. So if we want to message something, it should be something like Gavin Newsom, say no to ISO and pathways. I mean, we could do all sorts of things, but you have to start writing, the people that are running for the governor in the governor's race. And you have to write to Newsom. I mean, he's still the governor. If he says yes to this, we're kind of screwed. So, so we have to do that. Loretta Lynch, former president of the CPUC, everyone loves you when you come on the show because you explain things that we never understand. We love having you. So glad that you're feeling better. Thank you so much for coming on the show. The door is always open, and I always appreciate you making the time for us. So thank you so much.
You guys are great. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm happy to be invited back because I will so take you up on that.
I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it.
Yay.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Loretta Lynch, former president of the CPUC. And again, I mean, Gavin is so disappointing. I say this. Yeah, I know.
Did you even know? Did you even know that the ISO was going to go federal? Did you have no idea that was on the docket? Because I didn't. And I pay attention to things.
What's so disappointing is that Gavin becomes more disappointing the closer he is to not being our governor anymore.
God.
I mean, not in everything, because I do think he's a good spokesperson for the Democratic Party. I do like when he sticks it to the Republicans and all that sorts of, on the national stage. And I really do think that he's there was something he was talking about last week where we need to stop licking our wounds. I do think that he's good on that sort of thing for the Democratic Party. This sort of crap pisses me off to no freaking end. It really does.
This sort of stuff just makes him look like any other run-of-the-mill politician with his hand out.
Now, let me ask you. So the laundry list of people running for governor. If Kamala Harris was running, do you think she'd be more beholden to PG&E than someone like Katie Porter? I'm not saying she would be or she wouldn't be, but just off the top of your head, because of the politician, longtime politician.
Sure.
Not to say, I mean,
but then again,
what do you guys think?
Kamala Harris has had a history of, fighting for the public. As she said multiple times during this election, my client has been the people. Do we believe that? Do we believe she's for the people? I'm not saying she's not. I'm not saying she's not. Loretta mentioned this, if as we just saw in this election, that Trump and the Republicans won because people vote with their pocketbook.
Right.
And that is what the most important issue to America was. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of milk, whatnot. If that was so important to us, then here in California, we would be asking these questions and demanding it of our journalists. Find out who's going to lower my PG&E bill. Find out who's the best for energy policy in California. And I don't think we get through the next governor's election without all of us making that a key issue.
Right. I do. Oh, and I'm learning from Loretta Lynch. Kamala's attorney general did not indict PG&E over San Bruno. It took the federal government to indict them.
Wow.
I'm just thinking
something.
Long-term politicians. I'm not going to say this about, I hate saying this because I hate putting all politicians into the same bucket. I don't like broad brushes. I always hate that because I think it's unfair. But I honestly feel like, and thank you, Loretta, for that side note. I always feel like when you're in politics for a long time, you just become beholden. You just do, because you're in it a long time. So I know you guys know I love Katie Porter, so I'm biased. And I always admit this. I just love her. Katie Porter hasn't been in politics as long. She has experience, so she's been in it enough, right? But not, I guess, not long enough to be as dirty as somebody else, right? And she puts, what Loretta was talking about, the economics. She knows the economics and loves sticking it to these people. That's what I love about Katie Porter. She's like, well, no. What you're telling me is this plus this minus this. This is what you're telling me. How does that make sense? And I love that about her, right?
Yeah.
And I do think she also cares about civil rights and everything else because she's a mom. She, all these sorts of things. So, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, it's going to be a long couple of years to the governor's race, and we'll see what happens. But Newsom's out. So, there's no more Newsom. I wonder what he's going to do in the next couple of years. But we first have to get through this. Okay, so let's talk about, we're going to get into Trump's appointments. And honestly, I really feel like it has just been whiplash. But let's do some thank yous too, because you guys have been really donating to the show. Thank you, Jim, $5 donation. Thank you to Loretta. We love Loretta Lynch. Again, I mentioned she had COVID. She was supposed to come on before. She lost her voice. She was supposed to come on weeks ago. And it took her a while to get rid of that voice. So COVID's still around. If anybody worried about RFK, by the way. Geez Louise. But yes, thank you, Loretta. Uncle Scrooge, thank you for the $5 donation and the super sticker. Thank you. Louise for the $10 donation. Okay, he writes, key to handicapping Trump's appointments equals just think of the worst possible, least qualified person for the position. Come on, MTG, Jewish laser conspiracist for ambassador to Israel.
Come on.
MTG has not been appointed to anything yet, but who knows? You know what I mean? Not yet, but who the heck knows? Louise also with a $2 sticker. Sorry for your loss, Calvin.
Yeah, Calvin's parents have passed away. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know the timing of it, but there's a beautiful video that his sister made, and it's really poignant because it showcases his parents' life from the time they got together as young people and then adding children through the years into their retirement years. I'm choking up thinking about it. It's really a beautiful video.
I'm sorry, Calvin.
Yeah, I'm sorry too.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I have both of my parents, so I truly can't imagine. But my heart goes out to you, Calvin. You've been a long friend of the show, and so my heart and prayers go out to you. I'm so sorry about that. That sucks. Yeah. Okay. Eric says, I don't know which is worse, Matt Gaetz is Attorney General butthead, or RFK Jr. for HHS. So Matt Gaetz needs to he needs approval, right? So Republicans as a whole, I think, don't like Matt Gaetz, right? And he resigned immediately, and Republicans are saying, oh, it was to give more time to replace the seat, and the Democrats are like, it's because that report about him being a predator was just about to be released. There's this video I'm going to show you guys. What's his face? Cornyn wants still that report to be released about Matt Gaetz, because Matt Gaetz, he's a predator. The woman that it's about still wants it to be released. Was like, I was in high school when the allegations against him happened. So it's not minor. She was allegedly. But the allegations are not minor against Matt Gaetz. So here is Senator Cornyn talking about that.
Talking about recess
on the issue of vetting, though, how critical is it then to have access to what the House Ethics Committee has found in their investigation?
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
So you want to see it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So now they don't have to release it, but apparently one person from the House Ethics Committee just needs to switch sides and they can release the report. So one person would have to do it. So I don't know.
What do you mean by switching sides? From a yes to a no, or Republican to a Democrat?
No. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't think you need to switch parties, but maybe just kind of switch sides or support. I don't know what that exactly means, but he wants to see it. So I don't know, switch sides.
What I understand is that in the games, the political gamesmanship of Washington, D.C., leaks are quite common, and that we should expect that if for whatever reason legally they don't release this document, that it will be leaked and we will get to see it anyway.
Does anybody actually believe that Matt Gaetz didn't do it? I mean,
I know.
come on. I'm not.
You're ready to
allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the guy. I mean, I'm not going to
Here's
say
the
whatever.
question. So the
me a
report
freaking
gets
break.
leaked, and the report comes out, and we figure out that he's as big of a skeezy, gross guy as we
As
thought
he
he
looks,
was.
right? Exactly.
And does it matter? No.
No, it doesn't matter
No.
to
He
Republicans.
could be the
It doesn't
biggest,
matter to
skeezy,
anyone.
oily, gross, disgusting guy.
Obviously, it
You
doesn't
have
matter.
a president of the United States incoming that
Yes.
is legally
He's a felon.
he's
He's civilly
also
liable for rape.
yes, he's legally liable. He wasn't convicted of it in a criminal
No.
way, but he's legally been held
Yeah.
liable for the rape of a person.
Yes.
So if we don't care about that,
No, we don't care about.
then why do
Apparently,
we care?
Americans don't.
Apparently, Matt Gaetz doesn't. We don't care about him trafficking people.
Nothing
you see what I mean?
matters.
The bar is so low
Yeah.
that I don't
There
know
is no
what
bar.
you have to do to be considered a no vote. I don't know what you would have to like. How low can you sink
How low
before
can
you're
you go?
not wanted?
Thank you, Pamela, for the $5 donation.
you.
And thank you, Luis, for the other $5 donation. Matt Gaetz already assembling his staff. R. Kelly, Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, Butthead wants you. Exactly. But this is the
It's
thing.
actually pretty funny.
But
I
honestly,
mean,
Kim,
in a laugh or you
Yeah.
cry kind of way, right?
but this is the truth. The point that you just made, Kim, is absolutely true. The American people overwhelmingly have shown us that they do not care about moral codes, whether you're a felon, whether you're accused of any crimes, whether you're convicted of any crimes. They do not care. And if you are convicted of it, they either don't want to believe it, or they plug their, they cover their eyes and they plug their ears. They have to, right? Because if they were actually paying attention, right? If they paid attention, then they would know that it was true. But they don't watch the actual news or follow the actual thing. They don't, right? I truly believe, for instance, the January 6th hearings, right? There is no effing way, zero, that people that actually support Trump actually watched it, right? They watched Newsmax, OAN, Fox News, distilling it for them. They had to have. Because if you actually watched it and listened to the actual people that were there, that worked within his administration and testified, they would be like, oh my God. But they didn't. And the reason why they didn't is because they knew in the tiny parts of their body that they don't want to talk about that they would be convinced. And they didn't want to be. So that's it. They don't want to be convinced. They want to live in either ignorance or they're ignorant. So choose one. That's it. Choose one. Uncle Scrooge says, breaking RFK says chemicals in the water cause kids to be gay or trans.
Is that true? I mean, I wouldn't. There's no science involved in him. So I don't doubt you, but I feel like I need proof. Did he really say that?
All right, I gotta get.
I'm looking. I was trying to look it up.
Water trans. I'm just gonna put 3 words. Yeah. All right. So in 3 hours ago, well, on CNN, RFK Jr. has repeatedly suggested that chemicals in water are impacting sexuality in children. So,
Is that
Okay.
because chemicals? I mean, let's follow his train of thought. I'm guessing. Is it because chemicals affect? You drink in the chemicals and they affect your hormones, and then you
it's the
because you have you're hormonally confused, then you sexually confused. Is that where he's going with that?
Who cares?
I
Here's my
know.
question. Here's my question.
Why
Who
am I trying
cares?
to have reason and have logic with a guy who
Why-
has no reason?
Why
or
do I
logic?
care
Yeah.
who people are sleeping with? Why do I care? Why do you care? Like, honestly, why does
Well, I
why
care
does
if you
RFK
force yourself
Jr.
on someone in a dressing room, and I care if the person is 17 or underage.
Well, yeah, but like, I don't care if you're sleeping with, if you're a man and you're in a consensual relationship with
Mhm.
another man,
Right.
adult, right? I don't care. I don't
What do I always say?
care.
Keep your eyes on your own paper.
Yes.
Mhm.
How many people have said fine over the last week? Right? I mean, and this is the other thing. So, okay, so the Republicans have the House, and the Senate, and obviously the presidency, and they have a conservative Supreme Court. So don't cry to Dems. Don't. When the things that you think are supposed to happen don't.
Right.
Okay? If they do, and honestly, utopia happens, great. Great. If utopia happens, I won't complain. Utopia's here. Yay. I don't believe that's going to happen, but fine. Fine. But if it doesn't, you have no one but yourself to blame, because you can't blame us. We are literally not in charge of anything. Like nothing.
That's
Nothing at
crazy.
all. Like
The craziest people.
control
This is
over
where you step back.
anything.
Here's what my sister says. She says this. She's a therapist, right? But she's always trying to find the good in things and trying to uplift. I told her that I'm just like Loretta. I'm scared. And that I look at this, and every day it's like a new, oh my God, are you kidding? This is what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And she said, listen, this is going to be so bad.
Oh,
So bad.
no.
She said the next 4 years, it's like, it's going to be the biggest S show. And maybe that's what this country needs to go, oh, that's not what we want at all. That's not what we meant at all. And so then maybe you have this massive turnaround where we set the course right again. But that she said, like some things, you have to hit rock bottom before you rise back up. So maybe this is America hitting rock bottom before we have another, resurgence of good. I don't know. I told her she's full of crap, but maybe she's got something. I don't know.
All right. Okay. I want to get into what I actually teased for this story. And that is these protests. And as you can tell from the tease of my, thumbnail, I ain't about it. These 4B and these blue bracelets. Okay.
No.
And you guys can be honest. Obviously, I'm not into it. Okay. But you guys can be honest with me. I will not attack you. Who's into it? Who's into the 4B idea? And
Tell
we'll
me
get
what
into
the
the
B
definition.
stands for. What are the 4 Bs?
Okay. So the 4B movement is basically no marriage if you're not married, no children if you don't have them, no dating if you're not, obviously in a relationship, and no sex with men. And that even if you are married, apparently. Yeah, you're basically like, if you're a woman, it's like abstain, just basically from everything.
As a form of protest.
As a form of protest. Now, Nick Fuentes, he came out with this video. I'm not going to play it. Do not Google it. I watched it. It kept coming up on my feed. He's a far righter. We played him before. He's an asshat. Okay. He came out with this video. You've seen it. You've heard it. Your body, my choice kind of thing. It's very upsetting. The video is very upsetting.
Significant. Like, why? How did he even get any air?
He's been a guy. He's been around for a long time. But anyways, his video is very upsetting. Okay. So anyways, the 4B movement is kind of in response to that attitude, right? Like, women are taking back control of their body. Men want to be like this. Okay. You don't get us then. Now, I understand that mentality. I understand that. No. No. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up my husband, who has done nothing wrong, who is a supporter of me, who is a supporter of women, right? I'm not giving up sex. I'm not shaving.
This is one of those punishments that hurts him as much as it hurts you. So no.
I'm not shaving my head, which is also apparently part of it. Which is like, what you want to shave your head? Shave your head. If you want to do anything, listen. If you don't want to have sex with men anymore because you're protesting, do it. 100%. You have my support if that's what you truly want to do. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not doing it, and it doesn't mean that I'm not supporting women. Okay. That's what I don't support. Okay. It doesn't make me less of an advocate, is what I'm saying. Okay. I feel like performative protests are not what we need right now. Yeah. Blue bracelets, which is supposed to be like a signal that apparently, and this is what I understand them to be, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that white women are giving to signal that I didn't vote for Trump to other people. Stupid idea. One, apparently it was used by like far right groups also. So that's been co-opted a little bit. Apparently there's some sort of history with that. And two, another performative signaling. We don't need signals. We don't need that. Stop.
If
We
you want to
don't
know who I
need
voted for as a
signals.
white woman, why don't you just talk to me? I'll tell you. I've told you right here. I mean, why do I need a bracelet? I don't
I just,
understand. Is
I
it
don't,
is it
yeah.
the act of people feel like they need to do something
Mhm.
that it feels like such a kick in the gut
Yeah.
that you feel like you need to take action, yet there's no real action that you can take
Right.
aside from like maybe stocking up on plan B and being prepared for the long winter ahead, right?
Right.
There's nothing to do.
Well,
There's
I
no
did
amount
something.
of no having sex that's gonna fix this.
Right. So this is what I did. And I did it, and it actually kind of happened organically. And I'm gonna keep doing it. And I warned him about it. And I was like, this is gonna be happening. And a lot. And it's gonna happen it probably a lot over the next several years, especially. So I went the other night and my son was in his bedroom. And I always go in, you have to bother your kids, right?
Mhm.
So I go into my kid's bedroom and I jump on his bed and I'm just like bothering him because, mom's here. And I was like, hey, don't know what are you doing, talking.
Yeah.
And, I was like, what are you looking at on his phone? And just,
Mhm.
snooping. And, I was like, what are you looking at on your phone? He's like, nothing. I'm just watching videos or whatever. And I go, okay. And I was like, look, and I was like, I want to know what you're watching, obviously. And I
Mhm.
was like, and as a boy and as a young man, you need to be very mindful of the videos that you watch. And I was like, because they're going to get you. I was like, you're going to start seeing videos. He's like, I don't watch those kind of videos, mom. And I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I was like, you can be watching the most innocent of videos. And all of a sudden, the algorithm may know and discover you're a boy. And then all of a sudden, it's going to start feeding you certain messages. And
Yeah.
I was like, and over the next few years, especially, it's going to get hateful. And you're going to start being fed hateful messages about women and about, people of different ethnicities, LGBTQs. He's like, Mom, that's, I would never do. I'm like, I don't care of what you would never do.
Right.
I'm like, if you're fed a message over and over and over again, then you start repeating it with your friends and you think that it's funny. And then it becomes a joke. And I'm like, that's what I don't want to happen. You walk through the halls and all of a sudden you just kind of yell to your friends, my body, your body, my choice, as a joke,
No,
right?
not
It's a
funny.
joke with your friends because you saw it online.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that because then a girl hears it and she internalizes it, right? I mean, this is how it happens.
Here's
It
how I
becomes a
know you're
joke.
right. There was a group of boys in junior high just 2 years ago when Julia was in 8th grade. And they somehow found that guy. Remember that guy, Andrew Tate, the one who got
Ugh.
arrested with a pizza box, like total misogynist,
Yes.
gross guy.
Gross ass.
I,
Yes.
I was reviewing her texts and I saw one of them refer to stuff that he'd been saying.
Yes.
These are boys that are here in the North Bay. And you're
Yes.
thinking, how did that happen? It's just
Right.
precisely from what you're saying. You get served up this stuff. They're
Mhm.
impressionable. They hear it and they're like, oh, I guess that's how men
Oh,
think.
it's
No, it
just a
isn't.
joke. It's
Right.
just a joke. It's
Mhm.
just like that. Remember the Haktua girl? Remember? I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's made its way to middle school, right?
You
Haktua.
had to explain that to me.
I know,
Right.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all these things, right? It's all of a sudden it just becomes a joke, and then all
Yeah.
sudden these kids are saying it, no comprehension of really what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, no, wait a minute, and they don't have any true comprehension, but at the same time they do. They, I think young ladies do know because young girls learn really young, right? They really do learn really young that their bodies are a form of currency. Young girls learn it extremely young that their bodies get them what they want. They're
Yeah.
told that they're beautiful, or they're told
Mhm.
give somebody a kiss, or whatever. Young girls are told this. We learn this very young. And so now all of a sudden, you have middle school, high school boys telling you as a joke, your body, my choice. And then adults that voted for this guy to be president of the United States say, oh, these libs are just crybabies. This is the repercussion of politics. We're not crying because Donald Trump's in the White House. We're crying because of the repercussions that trickle down all the way down to our kids. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That's the consequence of elections. And people say, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. No, it's because we see the consequence. When Donald Trump says it, and then his minions say it, and then they put it on social media, and then it spreads like wildfire, it gets to my 13-year-old. And now I have to have a conversation with him. And I told him, I was like, this is not the first or last time I'm going to have this conversation. He looks at me, he's like, I know. And I'm like, I'm serious. I'm like, I'm going to be in your ear just as much as that phone's going to be in your ear.
When you look at the things that we can do,
right?
Among them,
exactly
raising our boys to be good people that are respectful of women that care.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. A couple people had sent me, it's like a 40-minute video of Politics Girl. You know Politics Girl?
Yes,
She's really good. Lee McGowan is her name.
Yes.
And she waited a week and then she gave her views on the election.
Okay.
And she was really impassioned. Part of her video had the Nick Fuentes video embedded in it. And then she came back on. And so I'll tell you, first of all, that Jacob happened to be in the kitchen while I was watching this.
Okay.
And I didn't realize she was going to show that. And he got tears in his eyes and said, why would he say those things? And I told him, we're never going to let you change who you are right now. Who you are is beautiful. I said, you just made me feel a lot better. You made me feel so much better. Then she goes on and she ends up, talking about all the things that women have been called. And among the things she said was the C word. And he's like, what's that? I'm like, oh God, here we go again.
Oh goodness.
Never play those videos in front of your kids. So now my 10-year-old knows what that is. But the thing is that before they get entrenched in all of this, I feel like they truly start from a good place.
Yeah.
So the goal for us is to keep them in that good place, to make them understand that their thinking is the right thinking.
Right.
Their first instinct is the right instinct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the problem is that these people that voted for Donald Trump, and I know that everyone says, oh, because of the price of eggs, they don't understand this part. You know what I mean? They don't understand what it does to the kids. They don't see it as, oh, that's just locker room talk. And I don't know why they minimize it, because then they get up in arms about library books, right? They get up in arms about things like that could be a discussion at home. Like, wait a minute. You're up in arms about library books that people actually have to use, their brains to read, that take time. But the thing in their hand that they scroll through constantly, that they're being fed a really awful message over and over and over again because of the politician you elected. That doesn't bother you. And it is literally a straight line from your president to that social media, that post, that person. They make tons of money off that. I had to literally reset my social media accounts after the election because for some reason it skewed right. Like, I could not stop getting Republican reactions to the election. And it was all like, oh, these Dems are crybabies. Oh, these kids. And I was like, why am I on this side of the internet? And I just had to go back to cooking and pet videos. I was like, okay, reset.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
want any politics. I was like, okay, I'm freaking done. But yeah.
I love my God. Anna Marie writes, as a mom and a teacher, it's like wildfire. Kids end up hearing all of this, and in trying to process it all, she says they repeat it and they don't realize how hurtful it is. I agree. And that's the thing. Don't get mad, teach.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what you have to, and teach over and over, because social media, they in so many different ways, in so many different videos, entertaining videos, right? Where it's your favorite, YouTuber or whatever. They incorporate it over and over and over again. It's like brainwashing them. And so, yeah, it's like the skibbity toilet, right? Like, or whatever. Like it's all these stupid ways, but they do it. So then all of a sudden it comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And they don't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Yeah,
It's
Claire,
crazy.
they're immature, so they need to be set right. Absolutely. Louise, thank you for the $5 donation. The price of
Mhm.
eggs must have been mega cheap in Nazi Germany, right? Um, yeah. Eric says, Nikki, even the left-leaning channels are skewing right in the comments. The trolls are flooding us. Interesting. Rev says young men think Andrew Tate is not toxic. They think he's telling them how to better themselves as men. This male masculinity. I've mentioned him before, Professor Neil. He's on Instagram. I really do enjoy him. I've mentioned him before. If you haven't followed him, he does this whole masculinity kind of breakthrough thing. I really enjoy his breakdown. He does a lot of these masculinity. Oh, let's go down that rabbit hole of what they actually mean. If you, and I enjoy his breakdown of that.
No,
I
think
don't.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I
You're good.
I don't understand the pushback of like what it means to be a man,
Mhm.
except in the only thing I can think of. This is the only thing I could think of. One, it's the incorporation of women in the workforce, right? This whole, women getting into power and replacing men, right? Obviously LGBTQ and that sort of thing. And then just, men that are just weak,
Yeah.
just can't handle it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Lori, thank you for the $20 donation. Thank you. Keep up the good fight as long as you can. I mean, there's no option, Lori,
Mhm.
especially when you have kids. Even those that don't have kids, you keep up the good fight. But I have a son, not only, and a daughter, which I think it's such a good juxtaposition, right? It's like I'm trying to raise a very strong woman that won't put up with any shit, which I'm very successful at, by the way.
To your own detriment.
Exactly. I'm a little mini me over here. And I'm also raising a young man that is not only able to stand up for himself, but also like very sensitive to women. Like,
Yeah.
how, like that isn't threatened by a strong woman. Like, there's nothing wrong with strong men and women. And there's nothing wrong with sensitive men and women, right? There is room for all of it. I just wish, we lived in a world. I'm just going to like daydream with you, Kim. And I know this is absolutely ridiculous. Just follow me here on the whole quantum physics. I wish Chip Franklin was here because he would go down this rabbit hole with me. There is a reality in which roles are reversed, and there is a world in which women have been in charge. And I'm not knocking men right here, but I would love to see what that world looks like.
Is it a better world?
I'm not saying it's a better world. I just would love to see what it would have been like. And women still birth children. I would love to see a world that is run by people who give birth to children, because I think it gives a perspective that men, not knocking men, I love you men, cannot, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking you guys. I'm not. But I think that when you give birth to something, there's just a perspective. There's just a perspective.
Not now and not here, but there have been societies in America, or not in America, but in the world, that were matriarchal instead of patriarchal. I
Right.
think maybe Hawaii might have been a matriarchal society way back when, and entirely governed by women. So it has happened before.
Yeah.
It has happened. I'm looking at it right now. There's a matriarchal society governed by women in Mosuo, China. In Costa Rica, the Bribri in Costa Rica, a tribe in Kenya, a tribe in Indonesia, some people in Ghana, some people in India.
How is it working out for them? How's it working
Probably a lot better than it's working out for us. That's what I know.
I just don't want the pushback of women in charge. I guess that's what I'm looking for. Like,
Yeah.
can we just not push back against
Mhm.
women being in charge? I don't know. I love my men. I love my men. I love men. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I would love to just see what that reality would have looked like.
Right.
I just did. Okay. I have other things to talk about. By the way, I did want to talk about a little bit more about the appointments, by the way. The Doge thing really bothers me. The Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy is so stupid. Now, how many of you think that Donald Trump is going to get tired of Elon Musk?
I think so. Absolutely.
Does anybody think that
Yeah.
he's going to
I'll
overstay
raise
his
my
welcome?
hand to that.
Because I
Yeah.
think Elon Musk is effing annoying. I think he is I think he's a very annoying person to be around. And that's why his wives or his girlfriends are not around. I think he's a very annoying person. So,
Here's my grand conspiracy theory.
okay.
And this is based on no proof. This is based on only my impressions over the years.
Uh-huh.
I think Putin has something on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Trump seems to kowtow to him his every whim.
Uh-huh.
And I think that Musk and Putin are in cahoots.
Okay.
And I think that Trump is beholden to Musk and Putin now. You see what I mean? So I don't think Trump will be allowed to get tired of Musk. I think he has to bend a knee to Musk. I think Trump isn't the guy in charge. Here's a
Like
story that I just
the whole puppet thing.
That's
Okay.
right. That's what I think. Elon Musk says he will receive no pay for his work heading the new Department of Government Efficiency under President-elect Trump. He
Hmm.
wrote on X that it will require tedious work, that he expects to make a lot of enemies. He says he'll be working with the former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy to lead Doge, D-O-G-E.
So
Now,
stupid.
here's why this is funny to me. He says he'll receive no pay for his work. He's selflessly cutting the US government. You know what he's doing? He doesn't need the money because he'll be fleecing the US government, making sure all the contracts go
Go to
his way,
him. Exactly.
making sure that all the policies are in place that he can do what he needs to
So
do with
wrong.
other countries. So does he think we're stupid that he's
No,
not taking
exactly.
the pittance that he would get paid by the American government?
He doesn't
No,
care.
trust me, he's getting paid big time.
Rep, he makes a good point. Elon met with the Iranian UN ambassador today. I think Elon is beholden because he also owes an S ton of money. Because remember, he bought, or he was in over his head when he bought Twitter. So I don't think Elon's a very good businessman. I really don't. I don't think Trump's a very good businessman. I think they are both beholden to people. And I think that's why they both kind of partnered up. I think we don't know who's running this country. And I think that the American people are screwed because of it. I really do. I really, really do.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I think the P tapes are underage sex scandals. Putin knows what it is and is blackmailing them. I mean, remember he put out the naked pictures of Melania on Russian TV?
I think that was a message. We have the tapes and we'll use them. Get in line.
He doesn't.
I know. This is just in my complete impressions, not fact at all. This is not official news.
I mean, but anyways, I think that's so stupid. I mean, and then the defense secretary, Peter Hegseth. Now, he is an Army veteran. He served in the military. He has no senior military or national security experience. He did go to Princeton. He was commissioned as an infantry officer in the Army National Guard. He did serve in Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as Guantanamo Bay. And then he served as a Fox News host, where at one point he said he hasn't washed his hands in 10 years because he can't see germs. So why wash his hands?
It's so icky.
I mean, I think he was kind of joking, but that's gross.
You're wearing a blue bracelet. Make sure you flash it at him. Don't let him touch it.
The defense secretary, I mean, again, and there's some controversial, obviously, things that he said. I'm sure you know about. He doesn't believe that women should be in combat roles. And I'm going to be fair with this guy. I did read more than just the soundbite stuff. He basically meant in like things that how to deal with strength and things like that. Like he doesn't believe that men and women are equal when it comes to things like the SEALs and stuff like that. He doesn't
Right.
believe in like the whole GI Jane kind of crap.
He doesn't
He
think
doesn't.
that women should serve in combat, and he's
Right.
said as much. Right.
Yes. Right. So he does not believe in any of that crap. He also doesn't believe in equality, like transgender people in the military, all that. So all that's out the window with him. So yeah, I don't like the guy.
So what are we going back to? Don't ask, don't tell.
I have no idea what we're going to deal
Oh.
with him. You know what I mean? At all. So I don't understand I don't understand Donald Trump's appointments, which totally makes sense. Right? I don't think we were supposed to understand Donald Trump's appointments. I think that some of them Donald Trump did because it was what he needed to do to kind of fulfill a promise.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he also knows, that's not going to happen, but I have to fulfill the promise. And then he's like, well, it's not going to be approved, but I did what I had to do. So whatever.
I think Kristi Noem for Department of Homeland
Oh
Security.
my God.
She said, I was reading an article with her today. It's saying, this is exactly the post that I wanted. So for payment, she had to stand up there like an idiot while he danced on stage. And in return, she gets to lead the Department of Homeland Security. The only qualification I can see that she might have is that she knows how to use a gun. That's
Right.
it. What does she have to do? I mean, are we not safe because the idiots are what do they say? The lunatics are leading the asylum?
Yeah. I don't particularly like Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence.
Well, talk about a friend of Russia.
Exactly. I don't like that.
Whose side is she on? Not ours.
I just, again, these are all Trump loyalists, right? These are all Trump loyalists. It just, and then of course, Trump made the joke about a third term. And I'm just saying, if Trump even tries it and gets it, we're going Obama. And Obama's younger. Trump will be at death's door if he gets a third term. We're going Obama. So screw you, Trump. I don't even give a crap.
I mean, I guess you would think it would make sense that he would do that. He's got Congress, right? He's got the House. He's got the Senate. He's got all the judges in his pocket.
Almost dead. He's almost going to be dead.
That would require a constitutional amendment, right? And so every state would have to, I would think that'd be really difficult. Although if he has presidential immunity and he's doing something while in service of America, then maybe all he has to do is sign an executive order. The judges say that works for us, call it good, and you're in charge again.
I think what's going to happen is, he's going to be, I doubt he's even going to, I don't know. I say it, but who knows? I feel like anything can happen with this dude, but I don't even know if he's going to be able to finish his term. I don't think he's the healthiest of dudes, honestly. I mean, come on now.
Usually it's against my nature to hope for ill to befall someone.
I never say that. I just don't think he's the healthiest of people. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, that's where we're going with that.
I just don't think he's the healthy. I mean, look at him. I do not think he loves his fast food. He doesn't walk. I've never seen him on a bike. I mean, come on. But you know what? Things seem to fall his way. So who the hell knows?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? There is some good news that I wanted to give. I do have good news.
What do you have?
That the Onion has bought Alex Jones Infowars was the best news I read all day today. I mean, at first I thought it was an Onion's headline, and then I was like, oh no, they actually bought Infowars. Alex Jones was freaking pissed. They bought it with the backing of Sandy Hook, obviously shooting victims' families. Jones owes them more than $1 billion for the defamation judgments. The purchase turns over Jones's company to the humor website that plans to relaunch the Infowars platform in January as a parody. The judge in Jones's bankruptcy case said today that he had concerns about how the auction was conducted and did order a hearing for next week after complaints by lawyers for Jones and a company affiliated with it. But as of right now, the Onion owns Infowars,
and they told him, "You got to pack your crap and get out."
Yes, he had
to.
to.
You have to hand everything over. Absolutely.
I absolutely love this story.
So This is another one of those things where you see bad things happen to bad people
Yeah.
and you don't feel so bad about it.
I don't. I don't feel
Yeah.
bad about it at all. Alex Jones, who, you know
Eric,
what? I was
Eric
thinking
says,
he was going to get an appointment.
will the regular Infowars viewers even notice the difference? That's funny.
I was thinking that Alex
Probably
Jones
not.
was going to get an appointment in Trump's freaking cabinet. I honestly was. I mean, I was thinking that Alex Jones was going to get some sort of like side appointment. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
how scared and who knows? I mean, who knows? He might even get it. I have no idea. Trump is so bat-ass crazy. Now that the Infowars is gone, who knows what's going to happen? I wouldn't even be surprised. I would not even be surprised. It
This
is
is crazy.
absolutely crazy. It is but I'm glad. Lady Beatrice, Darth Cheeto tries anything, we the people are going to show him he sadly underestimated democracy.
How are we going to show him? Are we going to take up arms? What are we going to do? Or is it for the first time ever, it'll be the fleeing of Americans into Mexico rather than
Right.
people from South America into, yeah.
Beatrice says Bobert for the Department of Education. You know,
I thought they were eliminating the Department of Education.
yeah,
No?
that's the thing. I've been thinking a lot about that as well. All I keep thinking about with the Department of Education being eliminated is F them kids. That's all I keep thinking. Everybody that's like, oh yeah, let's get rid of the Department of Education. I guess F them kids, because you know who's hurt? Rural kids, like in the rural areas, and special ed kids are going to be hurt the most.
Yeah. Nikki, they only care that the kids are born. They don't care what happens after the kid's born. They don't care about the feeding of the kid, the educating of the kid, the well-being of the kid, the
F
health
them
of the
kids.
kid. None of that matters. Okay. It's just have the kid. That's all.
It boggles my mind, the hypocrisy of this party. It's just, it have the child, and they have this like meme where it's like the pregnant woman and it's like your body and then the little baby inside their body, but then once the baby sounds like F that kid, it's like what the hell? I'm sorry, as a Democrat, I care about the living, breathing human on the outside. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus, Lord Almighty. I don't get people.
It's ridiculous. Like she just said Bobert for education. I'm sitting here looking it up because it's, it would be so outrageous, but so have all the other things. And I'm like, is it true? Does she mean it? Is it true? And I wouldn't put it past him. It's crazy.
Again, you can't blame us. Like,
Mhm.
you can't. It's not like I want to pop popcorn because we live in this world all together. Like, we're living in this country together. I'm laughing with you guys because my husband made me a very strong screwdriver, I'm not like, then I'll wake up tomorrow.
With him. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
You know what I mean? I still have hair on my head. I'm still,
Yeah.
sleeping with my husband. But I'm telling you, like, I go up and down a lot, and I don't look. Rev P says America has spoken, and that's the truth, right? I know there's still questions about the ballots and all this sort of stuff. I really don't want to be stupid, and I'm going to say stupid because the whole like that last election just proves that it was stolen. Both votes in the last election were way above. Okay, so stop acting like there was just this astronomical number of votes for Biden and there weren't an astronomical more votes for Trump. It was so many people turned out in the last election because Donald Trump was batshit crazy. Okay, so stop. Okay, I don't know where all the voters went. I don't know if people just stayed home. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened in this last election. I really just don't. But a lot of people decided that a felon, a civilly convicted sexual assaulter, and basically a liar deserved to go back to the White House.
It's a shocker, but that's where we are. And so
I
that's
got
where
so
we
upset.
are.
I turned
And so fine, right? So fine.
exactly. And fine. Then fine. I've been trying to come up with a T-shirt that's going to explain fine to people besides just fine. Like I came up with some designs. I feel like all of them just make it sound like I'm calling myself fine. Which I am. But no, I just and if anybody has any ideas for that, you can send them to me. I just I comfort myself with the idea that I didn't vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I lose that comfort, Kim, because again, we live in this world together and my children live in the world and my I have family that lives in Kentucky. I have family that lives in Arizona, and I don't think that they wrap their mind around the fact that they're not amongst the people that Donald Trump is going to bless. You know what I mean? Like, it's not you he gives a crap about.
No.
Sorry. It's not. You're not the rich people he's going to bless. You're not. Unless you're a multimillionaire or you make like, tons of money. And I know some people make tons of money and they're like, yeah, done.
Well,
But
and that's what my sister was saying, that, in the next few years, are people really going to see their lives improve? Regular people who voted for Trump, are they going to see their lives improve? Are they going to see their station in life somehow? Are they going to be elevated over the races again? Are they going to be like, are they going to see their power return? Are they going to see more money in their bank accounts?
that's what everyone wants to see. The bank
No.
accounts is what matters. The money matters.
They're
That's
not
what
going
we
to see
heard.
any of this. And so will they then become disillusioned if they don't see the results, or do they care about the results? Do they just want
How
to
long does
drink
it have to take though? How long?
maybe they just drank the Trump Kool-Aid and they don't care if they get results. They just want that. And maybe
You
it doesn't matter.
Our good friend Heather Hammond
Mhm.
had messaged me after I posted a video of our last show, and she's like, "No, you got it wrong." Because remember, I was saying, "Stop with the hope and the change. We have to change our tactic." And she was saying, like, "No, I drank the media Kool-Aid. It's because the media wasn't focusing on Trump." And that's not what I was saying, because obviously she wasn't watching the whole entire thing. It was just a clip. What I was saying, if you guys watch the shows, we have to focus our message. Like we aren't. And I was thinking about it because maybe I wasn't even focusing my message even in that rant I was giving. The thing that the Republican Party does, just to kind of recap, and we say this all the time, is they brainwash people. We say it, right? And I was thinking about this literally today on the way home from work. How bad are we at messaging? And I'm not bagging on the Democrats, but how bad are we at messaging when we actually have truth on our side?
Yeah.
And we can't get it across well enough to enough Americans to vote for us. They speak lies. You know what?
They're not looking for the truth. They're not looking for the truth. They're glomming on to trans issues and these wedge issues that don't affect the majority of Americans.
But do you want to know a moment that always rings true to me of what Donald Trump did during the election? And it didn't have to do with trans issues. It had to do with the economy. I remember this moment where he was standing, I don't know if it was during some sort of press conference or what. And it was on Fox News. It was even on Fox News. I don't know if it was an interview, but he was standing there and there was like a ticker, right? And he was talking about how bad the economy was. And below him was a ticker talking about how great the Dow was, like it was soaring. And he stood there and he kept saying, the economy is terrible. Okay.
With the
He
proof right there.
lies.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter that the literal truth was on a ticker below him. He lies and he lies and he lies. And it didn't matter what was happening around him. He stayed on message.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. If the house is on fire, you say it's not. You do not deviate. That is what the Republican Party does. And we fail at that. You know what we failed at with the economy? I thought about this. Okay. This is what we did with the economy. Okay. This is what we did. The economy was soaring. Okay. We always added the caveat. We know people are struggling. We always said that. You know when we failed and what we didn't capitalize on, Kim, and it dawned on me and it pisses me off that we never capitalized on it. This is what we should have done. We should have never, ever said, I know people are struggling. You want to know why? Because at the exact same moment that people apparently were struggling, the exact same year that people were struggling, you know what people were doing? Tell me, do you remember?
Buying Eras Tour tickets.
And not just some people. Everyone across the country was buying Taylor Swift. You know what our message should have been, Kim? I am so happy that our economy is doing so well that the American people are able to have a discretionary fund to buy $1,000 concert tickets. Because I know that the American people would never put concert tickets above groceries for their children. I trust the American people to be able to budget for their family household. So I know the economy is doing well. I know. I also know that the American family is doing well because they can buy Donald Trump's gold
Bibles.
sneakers.
Yeah, exactly.
And show an image of how much he's charging. So I'm so happy that the economy is doing, and never waver, never say anything that deviates from it. Oh, well, the whatever price of something is going up. That's nothing to do with us. Our economy is doing well. Our economy is doing so well that these people can spend thousands of dollars on a discretionary fund. Discretionary spending, entertainment spending, vacation fund spending is up.
Yep.
That's all we should have said all year long. And we missed it.
Don't you think, though, that we needed to acknowledge that
No.
grocery
See, that's
prices
where
were
we go
high?
wrong.
Because
No.
you and I experienced
No,
that grocery
never,
prices were
never.
high. I just don't think
No.
it's the president's job to
No.
fix that.
No, we
Yeah.
should have never. That's where we go wrong. We always try to do that. And that's where Republicans never do it. Why?
Yeah.
It's not our fault that they're being price gouged by private companies. That's not our fault. Why should we acknowledge something that's not our fault? Right? If they're being price gouged by a company until we can fix it privately, right? Unless there's something going on behind the scenes that we can fix, we do not come out and acknowledge it until it's fixed. Until there is something positive to say, we do not acknowledge it. Republicans know that game. All we say is, I am so happy that the American public is spending thousands of dollars. And nobody can say that they're not. Because every day, concert venues were filled. And I'm just going to say it, largely with white people, because Taylor Swift brought people all across the nation, right? Fight me on it. Tell me it's not happening. Show images every day on the news. That's what we fail at. We missed it, and it happened all year. All year. All year. Right?
I have a meme for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about people from other states trying to realize that they've been bamboozled. Red states versus blue states. This is what would happen if Canada, Canada annexed all the blue states, right? Like, problem solved. Yeah, they don't want us either. No.
They're like, no, we're not taking your,
We'll just go to Canada.
Nice,
no,
right?
we're not going to Canada.
It'd be nice. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, Democrats, we're too empathetic.
Yeah.
We like to be like, yay, we're doing great, but we know. No, stop with the but we know. That's not our fault. Stop acknowledging crap that's not our fault. Stop. That's what I think is our problem. Republicans never acknowledge things, whether they're at fault or not. And we have the truth on our side. We have a great message. How did we lose?
We can't, you can't have people, you can't say the truth is on our side if people don't get the true message. What they're hearing, no matter whether you say it or not, what they're hearing 5,000 times a day as Fox is on in the background is things suck. Here's what we think. They're not hearing the truth. They're hearing the spoon-fed message that, that Republicans want them to believe.
But we need to be, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what I was saying last week. We need to have a more concise message. The economy is strong. Look at all these people paying for Taylor Swift tickets.
Yep.
The economy is strong. We had a whole year of it. Look at all these people paying for Taylor Swift tickets. The economy is strong. And there's a prime example. They used it all the time. Look at the border. There's a border problem. Look at all these people coming through the border. The border is a problem. Look at all these people in whatever state in Texas. The border is a problem. Look at all these people at this place in Texas. The border is a problem. That's all they did over and over and over again until they were nauseated. And then they kept going. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We talk about big, inspirational things. We need to concise. And we have truth on our side. That's the problem. The economy is good. The economy is good. We did improve the economy. We just didn't know how to sell it properly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not drinking any sort of Kool-Aid. What I'm saying is we need better marketing. We need better, more concise, more brainwashing. We need to get a Republican brainwasher on our side. We need more brainwashing. We do. Brainwashing techniques.
If you want price controls, move to Russia.
True, but we need a brainwasher. Yeah. I'm telling you, brainwashing techniques. But truth, we have truth. We shouldn't even feel bad. Like, we shouldn't even feel bad about brainwashing people because it's brainwashing people with the truth. See? It's
crazy.
Not even bad. I'm telling you. People just need to listen to me. Listen to me. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. All right. Brainwash. Just listen to me. Just listen to me. Okay.
You're not wrong. People are agreeing with you. Keep it positive.
See, I'm telling you. I'm just and again, I was thinking about this on the way home. Like, is this wrong? No, it's not wrong. We have the truth on our side. One more funny story before I let you guys go. Did you see? Have you talked to Tim Sika lately?
I talked to him last Friday, and I'll talk to him
Did he give
tomorrow.
a review about Wicked yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Get back to me on it. I want to know if it's good or not. I'm hoping it's really, really good because I've never seen the play. So
okay,
I want to know if Wicked is good.
I'll
but
see if
anyways,
he's
did you
gonna
hear about
tell
the
us.
misprint?
I did. You go tell everybody though. This is great.
Okay. I didn't go to the site because whatever. Apparently, Mattel put out a website on the toys for Wicked. I don't know what the website actually is. I'm assuming wicked.com.
So the real website is wickedmovie.com.
But
right?
they put wicked.com.
That's right. Don't go there. Don't do it.
This is a porn site.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that they didn't even bother typing it in. Like, where is quality control? Like, nobody bothered to type it in just once, before they put it on thousands of boxes. Just once. No, nobody decided to do it. So anyways, and I love the directions. They're like, don't go to the site and throw your boxes, return your boxes. Everyone's going to the site. No one's returning the boxes. It's going to be sold to the highest bidder. Thank you very much. Like, nobody's following those directions, but I thought it was really, really funny. But yeah, anyways, I thought that was a really funny story. If anyone is seeing Wicked, apparently if you have Amazon Prime, you could have gotten early tickets. I want to say today or tomorrow or something like that. If you have Amazon Prime, you have to pay for the tickets, but apparently you can try to get early tickets to some sort of showing. But anyways, I really want to go see it. So if anybody sees it, let me know if you like it. And listen to Kim, because she always talks to Tim Sika, and so they always see it.
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys, click the thumbs up button. We really need your support for the show. YouTube loves it. I love it. Kim loves it. If you want to really support the show, though, please donate to our Patreon. We love our Patreon supporters. They are the lifeblood of this show. And we need you guys. Honestly, our monthly subscribers are the ones that keep this show going. And it's just, we need them. We just absolutely need them. I want to say thank you to Yvonne, who is one of our new $25 monthly subscribers.
Yay, Yvonne.
Also, Chris is one of our new $20
What's up, Chris? Thank
Patreon
you.
subscribers. So thank you guys
Yeah.
so much for donating to the show. If you want to be a monthly Patreon subscriber, please go to thenikkimadoroshow.com. It's just one time a month. If you can donate $10, $20, $25 a month, we really do appreciate it. We also really appreciate the super stickers you guys give every single time as well. There's also PayPal. Go to paypal.com and you could put in the email address, thenikkimadoroshow@gmail.com, and it's easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. And then there's a delicious way to support the show as well. And that is by getting the barbecue sauce from antitabbies.com. Go to antitabbies.com, use the coupon code NICKKIM, NIKKIM, and you get 10% every single time you order the guava barbecue sauce. It's perfect on all kinds of meat and fish. Chicken wings are my favorite. And 10% goes off your order, and some goes to us, and some goes to support kids in Jamaica. So it's a very good deal. So antitabbies.com is where you go for that. All right, you guys, thank you so very much. Send us your emails as well. We love hearing from our listeners and viewers as well. And we will be back here drinking heavily.
I finished my kamikaze. It's gone.
Got a little bit left of mine. I was talking a lot today, so there you go. All right, take care of each other. We love you. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.